All right, so we're going to start off with a slight decline dumbbell press. This has been one of my favorite chest exercises for a long time. People underestimate the slight decline. The slight decline, interestingly enough, was great for the sternal part of your chest, so all this we'll call it. And we're doing sets of 8. So we're going to work up to a heavy 8. So if you notice when James was pressing, he was letting his hands come outside his shoulder width. That's what you want to do. You don't want to get in too close, slightly wider than shoulder width. You get a little adduction coming this way too, which is a good thing. When you're doing your press, hands out a little bit past shoulder width, okay? So now we're going to move on and we're going to work more of the clavicular head, and this is the contentious head. Everybody has different ideas on what works at. I'll give you my opinion, take it or leave it. All right guys, so now we're going to move on to the incline bench press. The reason why we're doing this is for our upper pecs. So this is the fibers that attach to your clavicle, tie into your insertion here in your bicipital groove. So a lot of people don't think inclines even train your upper chest. I'm a little bit old school. I'm not doing these just because people did them in the past. When I say old school, I mean when I train incline angles, I actually get sore up here. If I'm getting sore up here, it's working those fibers. So nobody's going to tell me an incline isn't working my upper chest, because that's where I feel it. Just the same way as if you do a decline press, if you feel it in your lower pecs, it's working your lower pecs. It's really simple. Sometimes we make this stuff way overcomplicated. A lot of people don't even think this works your upper pecs because of where the origin and insertion of the muscles are, but they forget about how your pecs work with your shoulder and shoulder flex. You're essentially working your anterior delt here too via a flexed shoulder. So you're working your front delt and your upper pec. And by moving the bar this way, you are shortening this distance between here and here. And that's what all the experts say. You just got to shorten the distance between the origin and insertion. Well, that's what we're doing. You know, I know a lot of people like to pull cables up this way, and I do too, I like that. But I would never say that that's more effective for your chest, for mass, as opposed to a barbell incline. I would never say that. I will say this too, this incline is a little high, so we are going to get a little bit more anterior delt. Ideally, I would like it to be around 30 degrees. It doesn't hurt to have bigger shoulders too, so we're going to get bigger shoulders and a bigger upper pec. So a couple more things. You'll notice James and I kind of stop a couple inches above our chest. That personally makes it easier on our rotator cuff. When I used to take these all the way down, I get really sore rotators. You could also make the argument, if you notice, we actually pause it too. You could also make the argument we're keeping a ton of stress there, and we're not sitting on the bottom of sitting on our chest and losing stress. We're actually keeping the tension. Sets of 6. Now, here's the deal. So if you go wider on your grip, now you get more of that sternal head we were talking about over there. Those are the fibers run from your sternum to the bicipital groove. When you're a little more narrow, this doesn't just apply to inclines. This applies to benches on flat, decline. Anytime you're a little more narrow, you get more of that clavicular head. So you can, I'm talking about what part of your chest this works, you can alter that by the grip you're using. All right, those of you who have banged up shoulders, I would advise you to use more dumbbells than barbells. You can go 8 to 10 if you want. What really matters is you're just doing hard reps. A lot of what I talked about, the clavicular head, the sternal head, you'll see that on all kinds of videos. Might not even be anything new for you, but I'll tell you one unique thing that James and I do is we train our pec minor. It sits underneath your pec major. You'll notice nobody trains it now. The reason why we do is because we were influenced by some of the old school guys like Vince Gironda. That's who made these really popular. So you have a muscle called your pec minor that sits under your pec major. It goes from your 3rd to 5th rib up to your coracoid process. But what it does is, think about a reverse shrug. So a shrug is this way. This muscle does the opposite. It does this. Now, it's really unique pump that you get. When that muscle works, it pumps. It's a muscle, it pumps up. You can literally feel your chest getting bigger because of the muscle underneath that's lifting it and pushing it up. And it'll give you a real unique feeling of soreness that I can guarantee you've never felt before if you haven't done these. You want to keep straight arms, tuck your head, and you want to reverse shrug. These are hard. If you're too weak to do them, what you can do is you can get on a tricep dip machine and you can lock it out and you can just push the weight down that way. But this is kind of the old school way. I want your feet out in front of you a little bit. It's going to take some practice if you haven't done these. So don't think you're going to get them on your first try. Kind of narrow. You don't want to be real wide. Feet out in front, straight arms. We're going to just go to failure. Ideally, it's between 10 and 15 reps. You can only get 6. That's cool. Just maybe do another set or 2. We're doing 3 sets. If you can do more than 15, like if you're super strong on these, then you can add a belt. You can actually add some weight. I would put these in the middle of your workout. I wouldn't exhaust your musculature on something like this before you do like your inclines. But if you do these dead last, your pecs might be so tired you can't even do them. Also notice I'm not real wide. Right in here. We're going to finish with a fly. A lot of people would say that this adduction is probably the most important thing you do for your chest. I don't know that I agree with that. I wouldn't replace all my presses with flying, but it is a very good movement. So we're going to do 3 sets of about 10 reps here.